Guys, this is exciting. Toontrack is really capturing amps to the next level with Genome 2, which now allows you to capture your full amplifier, including the full tone stack and all the controls that your amplifier has. I'm not allowed to use these words anymore, but it's kind of a game changer, honestly. And a bunch of very special features that we're going to get into in this video. I don't know if you can tell, but I'm super excited to show you this updated platform with these great new features. Let's go ahead and start right away. I have Genome 2 loaded up in my DAW with a killer guitar rig that I've built inside of the software. So let's take a listen to some quick riffs and talk about this whole wonderful platform after. Let's take a listen. Yeah, that sounds awesome. So cool. A quick thanks to Toontrack for sponsoring this video. I really appreciate it. But as always, guys, all thoughts and opinions are 100% my own. For this demo track, I used a really cool guitar, by the way. I used my RH Guitars DCO custom with the bare knuckle Aftermath in the bridge. A really aggressive sounding pickup. And this is the tone that I've built. I'll give you a quick walkthrough of the tone, and then we'll get into the sounds and the features a little bit deeper, okay? So for the amp tone, I'm using this flat back dual, which is a dual rectifier basically. It looks the same as my own dual rectifier with the 3 channels and everything. I'm using channel 3 on the modern mode, which is my favorite rectifier mode. These are the settings that I'm using. For the middle section over here, which is kind of clean, I am adjusting the gain and treble with the automation here, which is very easy, by the way. You just do map to automation and you assign an automation track to that parameter. And there you go. So that's very easy. Alongside of the standard controls, you can also choose with whether the power amp is on or off, diode or valve rectification, EL34s or 6L6s. I went to the EL34s for a different mid-range character, and then bold for the power amp setting as well. So this is the full amplifier that's in here. And of course, there are other amps in here as well, which we'll try later in this video. Then I also have a noise gate on, this guy over here. And for the clean section, I also enabled the phaser, which is also being turned on via the automation, okay? I like phasers, it's my favorite modulation effect. Can we just take a look at how beautiful these graphics are on this plugin? Looks really nice, right? Then for the DynIR cab, which is, you know, the famous Toontrack cab modeling, I used an Engel cabinet. I used the E412 VSB, which we have over here with these mic settings. We can take a look at all of that later as well. Then I used the wall of sound post effects just for some room ambience, very subtle. And for the clean section, I also added, with automation once again, some studio reverb for some nice lush ambience. So this is the Genome plugin over here. I have never used Genome before, so I was especially excited to try this platform out for the first time. And now I get to play with all these new features as well, which we're going to get into. Just wait a minute. Very quick overview. Over here we have the signal chain. You can also split the signal chain into a parallel signal chain for adding, you know, parallel effects and everything. I'm a simple guy, so I like to keep things, you know, simple. I rarely do parallel effects, parallel signal chains and stuff like that. We have a tuner over here, which is nice for tuning your guitar. Input gate, which is very nice. And you can also use the learn feature to detect the amount of noise that you're getting in your signal. So that's a handy feature. Another cool new feature of Genome 2 is the transpose feature, which you can use to transpose your guitar with very little to no artifacts. And you can go down up to, I think, 24 semitones. So that's 2 octaves down or 2 octaves up. So now you don't have to tune your guitar up or down in order to get a different tuning, especially if you've recorded your guitars, for example, and your singer can't reach those high notes. Then you can just transpose the entire song down for all the guitars and be done with it and have your singer sing a lower pitch. Of course, we have MIDI automation. We also have this new MIXFIT thing, which is very nice. We'll try that in a minute as well, which is great for shaping the tone. A very powerful tool. And then down here, obviously, you can see the components that you're tweaking. You know, so it took me a minute to get used to the layout of the overall platform, but you know, now that I'm used to it, it's very easy. Input section over here, output section over here, etc. Presets. So it's pretty straightforward, actually. Now let's talk a little bit about the type of amp modeling, or the types of amp modeling that are available in this platform. So I think for Genome 1, the previous version, you had access to the Codex amplifiers, which are basically NAM captures, as far as I know. These are static captures, you know, captures like any other capture platform. Then we have the PARADEX captures, which we'll get into right after this. And then we have the stock amp models. So that's what I'm using right now with the TSM-AI amplifier. I think for the previous version, there were also some other ones, the legacy ones probably, but now they've added a bunch of new ones, and boy, do they sound amazing. I'm super impressed. I'm really blown away by the quality of these amps and these amp models. It's basically their own capture tech, but they also capture the way the tone controls respond, the way the master volume responds. So it's a way of capturing the behavior of the entire amplifier, but with the AI, so that it's really realistic and sounds really organic, which definitely is the case, okay? Now, the really cool and special thing that they've added are those PARADEX captures. Now, let's take a look at one over here. I made one myself. So this is the PARADEX interface over here, and I made this capture, the JR Terra. So what this basically allows you to do, and I'll show you the process in a minute, is it allows you to capture an amplifier, but here it comes, here's the kicker. It allows you to capture all the behaviors of all the controls of the amplifier, which is absolutely insane, okay? So just for fun, for this video, I captured an amp. I captured my orange Gymroot Terror, which is back here. I used my Reload 2 as my load box. I used my Line 6 Helix as the interface because it's easy for routing and everything. And I captured the entire amplifier along with all the controls and all the knobs. So this is the 2Notes Capture Studio app, which you can use to capture your amplifier. There are two options over here. We have the parametric capture, which is what I used to capture my amplifier with the behavior of all the controls. And then also a snapshot capture, which is more like a traditional capture, if you will, right? Nothing wrong with that. They still sound great. They still work great. But the parametric capture, that's the new thing that we want to look at. So if we click on create, you can, choose a name for the amp, etc., etc. And then we get to add the knobs, okay? There are a bunch of knobs that you can add, the ones that you want to model, because you can choose. You can customize which knobs of your amplifier you want to model. If you only want to model the gain control and the treble control, for example, you can do that. Or if your amplifier has a special control to adjust the tightness of the amp, for example. My Lichtlerm Audio Prometheus amplifier has a feature like that. You can capture that with an input stage knob. Let's try that, okay? So let's say tight, all right? We've added that knob. And then we add gain, of course, gain. So you can add all these knobs. And then when you start the capture, the program basically asks you to use certain knob positions. It sends signals through the amplifier, and the software captures your amp, and then this training starts, which in my case, I modeled the gain and the 3-band tone stack controls, so that's 4 controls. In my case, it took like 1.5 hours in total, I think. So It takes a little while, but then you have captured your entire amplifier, which is pretty insane. I shot a little video of the process. Let's take a look at that. All right, folks, I just wanted to show you what I'm doing for the capturing process in Genome 2. So the amp that I'm capturing is my orange Gymroot Terror, a little high-gain lunchbox amplifier. I'm using the Reload 2 as my reactive load. I'm using my Line 6 Helix as the interface with a fancy signal chain over here. And right now, I'm still capturing the gain knob, and I'm going to need to set it to this setting. So let's say around 1 o'clock. Let's do that. I've just been capturing all the other settings. And then I'm going to click on capture. Here we go. And as you can see, it's capturing that specific knob position right now. It's not a long process. I still have to do like 40 captures, but it's a pretty quick process, which is nice. So yeah, when that's done, I validate the capture, and then I have to set the control to the next position, which I'll do right now. There we go. Maybe just under there. And we repeat the process. And that's it for now. Cool, huh? All right, there you go. So that's how the process went, right? So you capture all the knobs, then you render, and then you're done. You can do a sound test and try the amp model out, also with some pre-recorded clips in the software, which is handy, so you don't need to use your own guitar per se. And then when all of that is done, you can load that amp model in the software. So let's take this guitar track, the main guitar track, put it to the center, and for fun, just try this capture before we try out all the other stuff. I'm going to turn off this rectifier for a second here, and we're going to load PARADEX amps. Now for the release, they're going to add some more of these stock PARADEX amplifiers. But this is the one that I made. It's quite different sounding than the rectifier. It's a small lunchbox amplifier, orange style, so it's not going to sound as massive as a dual rectifier. But let's just take a listen and see how we can shape the tone. For the preset, I am using some stuff which I'll turn off for a second, like the wall of sound, room reverb, and this MIXFIT. I'll turn that off as well. All right, let's take a listen. So the way that these tone controls and the gain control are behaving is like the amplifier actually behaves. It's so insane. Yeah, and it sounds really good. I mean, it just sounds like the amplifier. Of course, this is a direct capture, right? So it's the amp going into the cab block, all right? I don't know if you can also make captures with a cabinet built in. I assume you can. Why not? Just use your cabinet, put some mics in front of it, and send that signal back into the interface. I don't see why you can't do that. But of course, if you create a capture of your amplifier DI style without a cabinet baked in, you're going to be able to use the DynIR cabs and stuff, or your own IRs or whatever after the fact. But that is the PARADEX modeling. I've only scratched the surface because you can do so much, which is absolutely insane. You can capture all of your amplifiers with as many of the controls as you want, and then basically model your own amplifier. It's mind-blowing, and I'd love to know your thoughts about this whole thing in the comments. Definitely let me know your thoughts. So for example, this is the PVH50 rhythm capture that they added stock to this plugin. Again, there will be more at launch, but there are a bunch of controls in here that they modeled. As you can see, there's a presence control, resonance control, 3-band EQ, gain, post-gain. So yeah, you can really go crazy with this stuff and model your amplifier in depth. So this is the PARADEX modeling, okay? The new evolution in tone amp capturing, absolutely insane. They did also add a bunch of the Codex amplifiers in here, stock, which are the previous generation. Still great sounding, you know, still very accurate captures, but they are static captures, of course. So these are a bunch of the captures that they included. We can try a couple. Let's try this Guitar ML Gent amp. You can do a bunch of tweaking in here as well, of course. You can change the tone stack, which is kind of like the Kemper liquid profiling thing. It makes it a little bit more flexible. This is a great capture, by the way. Sounds good. Let's try another one. Let's try Petaluma 2C+. Yeah, so, you know, that's more like a tight Boogie Mark II C+ amp capture. All right, let's try one more. Let's try this Spawn high gain amp. That sounds really good as well. I imagine that's based on Splon amplifier. And then also in the post effects over here, you can tweak the tone further. So that's really flexible. You can get great tones really quickly. So it's a great capture platform, even without the PARADEX captures, without being able to capture all the controls over your amplifier. Just using these static captures already is really flexible. You can get some amazing tones out of this. All right, so let's take another look at some of the components. So I added a phaser at the clean section of the song, but of course there are a bunch of other effects that you can add. So we've got delay effects, we've got drive effects, we've got dynamic effects, so a bunch of compressors and stuff. And they all have a beautiful interface, so it's really very nice to look at. We have EQs that you can use before and after the amplifier. We also have some wah effects. Let's try this one. Oh, I like how you can change the frequency as well. That's cool. Of course, you can control that via MIDI or automation. Love me some good wah effects. We also have a bunch of modulation effects. Let's try this flanger. That is cool. We also have some pitch effects, of course, reverb, which we can take a look at as well. So let's go to the cleaner section of this song. And as you can hear right now, I have the studio reverb on, which is quite beautiful. Let's try another one. Let's try the cotton reverb. That is cool. Let's try another one. Let's try Blossom reverb. Beautiful. Look at that interface. That's just beautiful looking. So, you know, plenty of effects in here. Really impressive stuff, actually. Let's go back to the heavy stuff and let's get rid of this reverb. Let's go back to the amp. Let's try a couple of these amps. So again, this is the dual rectifier. As I mentioned, you can go to the spongy mode and go to 6L6 and valve rectification. It's going to change the character, obviously. Vintage mode, raw mode. Go to the different channels. So they modeled the entire thing. Okay, pretty awesome. Let's go to another amp. This is the Flatback Mark V, which is like a Boogie Mark V. All the switches and all the modes are in here. Let's dial in a cool tone. Let's put it to the max mode, which is the same mode that I have on my Mark V. It's called the extreme mode. Let's tweak a little tone there. So the tone stack behaves just like an actual Boogie Mark amp, where you can tighten up the amp by rolling off the low end. Pretty cool, huh? Let's try another one. We can just scroll through the amplifiers with these arrows over here. This is obviously a Soldano. Sounds quite nice and thick. Diabolus. This is, I think, this must be a 4-tin amplifier. I'm not very familiar with those amps. Another Soldano. This looks like a Sun. And this looks like a Badlander. An Engel. Again, with all the switches and stuff, so powerful. And a PV 5150. And if I tweak the amplifiers as how I'm used to with my actual amplifiers, the way the tone stack behaves and everything feels familiar. So they seem to have modeled the amplifiers with all the quirks quite well. Over here we even have a mode for modern and classic. Just some extra voicing options. Now, say we want to make this more tight, more modern metal, a 5150 with a boost pedal up front, you know, that is something that is very common, obviously, for metal. Let's try that. Let's put level to max. So you can do all of that stuff, right? Just as in real life. Got some more amps here as well. So yeah, a lot of stuff to choose from that's built inside of the plugin already, so you don't even need to capture an amp if you don't want to. Let's go back to this one, Eldorado 100, and let's go to the DynIR cabs. Now, for the demonstration of this video, Two Notes was kind enough to enable all the cabs that they have on offer, and they have a very impressive library of cabinets that you can get in their store. 311 4x12 options alone, right? I'm using an Engel cab right now, which is this one over here. Let's try another couple from Engel. Let's try the SIG 77, for example. Cool, different character. The Sin. I'm just going to scroll through a couple of these Engel cabs. Nice. So there's a lot of stuff in here that you can, of course, purchase separately. You will get some cabs if you purchase this platform, even with the free version, by the way, because there is a free version. I think it's called Genome Intro, and it will have some very basic components just to get familiar with the platform and to get started, basically. And then you can upgrade and get some more stuff in there. But that's really nice of them to also have a free version. But we have a bunch of other brands and stuff. Some Fortin stuff. George Lynch. Headfirst amplification. Using Kettner. Even some Jim Root cabs. And some Mesa Boogie cabinets. Let's go with the Recto Traditional Slant WTE. So that's the cab that we're choosing here. I'll show you real quick what you can do to tweak the tone. So of course you can choose your microphone. Let's go all the way to mic A and try a couple of microphones. And of course, then you can change the distance and the axis of your mic. Just to really fine-tune the tone. And then blend the two tones, and you even have a speaker overload, which emulates speaker breakup, and this Verify control, which emulates phase shift between different microphones. We can try that as well. So it's on the subtle side, but it emulates the effect that you get when you have mics slightly out of phase. And you can fine-tune that, which is cool. So you can go crazy in here, choosing different cabs, choosing different microphones. And yeah, a lot of this stuff sounds really good. So, you know, to learn more about what sort of cabs they have on offer, just go to their the website and check out what they have. They even have stuff from Rev. Let's try a 212. That's cool. Okay, so that's our cab for now, right? Now, what we can do with MIXFIT, it's basically a very advanced post EQ. You can use this to make the sound fit the mix, obviously. But there are some special controls. We have the input over here, which you can use to, you know, adjust the pick attack and tightness. Let's start with the pick control. So if you want some more pick attack, you can just tweak this control and get some more attack. Tightness is really nice. Let's try that. So this is not really a post effect, this is more a pre-effect, but it works really well to shape the overall tone and character of your sound, right? This is basically an EQ. I have this character control, which you can go from vintage to modern, set a little bit under neutral. It's just a nice little control. And then we have some low cut and high cut. Which I tend to use for subtle shaping. Then we also have a rig out. You can even have some tape saturation on here. So some soft clipping, basically. So again, this is also a very powerful tool and quite intuitive with the words that they added up front: air, sparkle, edge, focus, etc. So I like this MIXFIT feature a lot as well. Anyway, this video is going on way too long. I'm just having way too much fun. There is so much to explore in here. I'd love to know your thoughts. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. What do you think of the new dynamic parametric modeling? I think it's absolutely insane. It will take more time to capture your amplifier if you're doing a lot of controls and stuff. Keep that in mind, but then you will have your entire amp captured in the platform, which is quite powerful. And I really like that. It took me a little while to get used to the interface. I think sometimes Two Notes interfaces can be a little bit clunky, but they're getting better at it. And, you know, once you get used to it, it's very easy to work with. So yeah, that's great. Thanks again so much to the folks at Two Notes for sponsoring this video. I really appreciate it. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Please hit the like and subscribe buttons as well, as that really helps the channel out. I'd really appreciate it. Follow me on Facebook and Instagram. And I hope you guys are doing well, and see you in the next video. Cheers.